Welcome, everyone. Today is Monday, February 5th, 2024, and this is a regular meeting of the City at Asbury Park Planning Board. Chairwoman Kurzak, can you please call this meeting to order?
This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coaster and Asbury Park Press by publication of the annual meeting notice and posted on municipal bulletin board and municipal website. All notices are on file with the board secretary. Official action may be taken on the following matters before this board. Fire exits are located on east and west sides of council chambers as well as the back of the building. I will ask everyone with a cell phone or other device to kindly silence your device for the duration of this meeting. This meeting is being recorded by APTV for your viewing pleasure anytime in the future. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take roll call. James Bonanno.
Here.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Here.
Eric Gallipo.
Here.
Jim Henry.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Daniel Shenameo.
Here.
Jennifer Souter.
Here.
Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Here.
And Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Here. The first item on the agenda are approval of minutes. We are catching up, as you can see, on the dates of these minutes. Was everybody able to access these? Just to make sure? September 19th, 2022.
Eligible members are...
Yes, eligible members.
John Moore, Jim Henry, Jennifer Souter, Eric Gallipo, Yvonne Clayton, James Bonanno, and Barbara Kurzak.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for September 19th, 2022?
So moved. Second.
Do you want to do all roll call or just...
Just call those who are eligible.
John Moore,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jennifer Souter,
Yes.
Eric Gallipo,
Yes.
Yvonne Clayton,
Yes.
James Bonanno,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Next set of minutes were for March 20th, 2023, regular meeting. Those
Eligible members are Jim Henry, Jennifer Souter, Michael Goonan, Yvonne Clayton, James Bonanno, and Daniel Shenameo.
all right, can I get a motion to approve for those that are eligible to vote?
Move to approve.
Second.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jennifer Souter, Michael Goonan,
Yes.
Yvonne Clayton,
Yes.
James Bonanno,
Yes.
Daniel Shenameo.
Yes.
Next one is minutes from June 5th, 2023. Folks that are eligible?
Eligible members are James Bonanno, Yvonne Clayton, Jim Henry, Jennifer Souter, Eric Gallipo, Michael Goonan, and Barbara Kurzak.
Okay, can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
James Bonanno,
Yes.
Yvonne Clayton,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jennifer Souter, Eric Gallipo,
Yes.
Michael Goonan,
Yes.
Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. All right, I appreciate your patience, those in the audience, but we have 10 resolutions we have to go through before the applications begin. First resolution is for the approval of the proposed accessory dwelling unit ordinance. And now remember, this is the suggestions that we had, or recommendations we have to the council regarding this, regarding the accessory dwelling units. Anyone have any concerns?
I sent Jack a comment on the one-year tenancy. I asked to consider adding the initial tenancy so that somebody who has a one-year lease could continue for a term shorter than a year, as most leases allow. So like somebody who's staying on doesn't have to renew for a full year, but could renew for 6 months or 3 months. And that new tenants would be held to the one-year lease restriction.
That was not discussed
I'm aware of.
during the meeting, so I believe that's more of a, and one other thing that did come up regarding this was that we were unsure, as was Michelle, was unsure as to what we can legally do.
Yeah.
So that has to do with municipal council, has to decide what our recommendation is and whether our recommendation holds up to the law.
Yeah, I'm
So-
just letting you know, that was the concern I relayed.
Okay.
That was about the initial tenancy.
Okay,
And my memory of this was that we had discussed that you can't necessarily set a term of a rental in a land use law, but that we can recommend to the council that when they're reviewing the rental ordinance, that they we recommend they should set a minimum term for properties in PDUs.
you are right.
Yeah.
You're right. That was discussed because it wasn't in some, I forget, it was a 30-something. Right.
And so I don't think we decided 6 months or a year. I think we just said that this council should, we recommend the council should review this when they review the rental ordinance.
Agreed.
I thought that we had mentioned a year. And I believe that Jack had it as a year.
Yeah, I also thought this was a year.
I also think it was a year.
So I had a conversation with Jack, because he just wanted me to give me a heads up about the meeting. Obviously, I wasn't at the meeting when he discussed it. So as Barbara was just indicating, there are limitations as to what you can put, and actually, Michael, you as well, that you can put in a land use ordinance. There was a referral, obviously, this is a referral to the board can make their comments. Ultimately, the city council and mayor, by and with the council of the city, they may be limited as to what they can actually put in the document. But if it's the board's preference to have a one-year term, certainly that can be a recommendation. Whether they can legally do that, I'm going to defer to the city attorney as to what limitations they can and cannot do.
And I think we just wanted to say because it's probably not going to be allowed in this ordinance, but when the city does review their rental ordinance, we want them to consider it at that point.
So we have to, as a board, decide that whether we are in agreement with this resolution, understanding that the municipal attorney will have to, make additional decisions, as well as when the council reviews the rental rules, if you will, to make this consideration. So does this board agree with the 1 year as we discussed? And I think that we have to vote on it as 1 year. And if someone just says that, no, I don't agree with the 1 year, they can vote no. And, if it doesn't get passed due to that, then I guess that we have to review that. But I seem to remember 1 year. So I'm going to make a recommendation that we approve this resolution as is with a 1 year term, with the understanding that the municipal attorney will make their decision and recommend it to the city council, and the city council should bring this over to when they review the rental agreements. So I'm requesting that we pass this. If I can get a second.
I'll second.
Eligible members, James Bonanno,
Yes.
Yvonne Clayton,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jennifer Souter,
Yes.
Eric Alpo,
Yes.
Michael Goonan,
Yes.
Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. And just one thing, I know, John, just in case, and I know that Yvonne was here to discuss this, it really had to do with summer rentals, to not have them restricted to summer rentals. That was why we were going in this direction. Okay, next resolution is the approval of 700 Monroe Avenue. Approval of that resolution. Do we have who's available, who's allowed to do
Eligible
that?
members for this one is Mayor John Moore, Jim Henry, Councilwoman Yvonne Clayton, Jennifer Souter, and Eric Alpo.
Okay. We get someone that is eligible to vote to move this forward?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and Mayor John Moore,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton,
Yes.
Jennifer Souter,
Yes.
Eric Alpo.
Yes.
Okay. I did ask if we could do these as a group, and I was told no.
No.
So here we go.
All right.
The resolution for approval of planning board attorney for 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move it.
Second.
Okay. I guess we need a verbal for each one of these?
Yes.
Okay, go
Sorry.
ahead. That's okay. We have to do what we have to do.
Eligible members, James Bonanno,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton,
Yes.
Eric Gallipo,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jennifer Souter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mike Goonan,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Bart Bukurzak.
Yes. Next one is resolution for approval of planning board planners for 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Does this include salaries?
Includes what?
Salaries?
We've already had that discussion sometime before December.
Okay.
And at executive session, we had that discussion. And I wanted to make sure that the whole board knew what was going on. I presented that, and then we moved forward.
Thank you.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, where are we? Did we get the approval for it?
I have Jim Henry, motion, Barbara second.
Okay,
and
so now-
roll. James Bonanno,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton,
Yes.
Eric Gallipo,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jen Souter. Yes. Vice Chair Mike Goonan,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Resolution for approval of planning board secretary for 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
Question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, get the motion in a second.
Okay. Who got the motion? Oh, Jim
Jim
did.
Henry.
Second.
Mike is second.
Michael.
Michael second.
Goonan, okay.
Yes.
Why
James
can't I vote
Bonanno.
on these?
Oh, question.
I don't know, Ken?
What? Question?
Why can't I vote on this?
On the secretary?
Because
Well, I
we
didn't- I
approved them
haven't-
last meeting. and now
Because
it's
these all happened in the last meeting. I don't know, Ken?
Oh, is that what happened? So,
All of these were approved at the last meeting,
okay.
and now the
Oh,
resolutions
this
are
is-
going
Okay,
through.
this is just, okay.
This is just the resolution to move on.
I didn't know that myself.
Got it. You forgot me, okay. No problem. Thanks,
Never.
Mark. Thank you.
Okay. Of course, we brought it up at the secretary.
I can go home. James Bonanno.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Eric Gallipo.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jen Souter. Yes. Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Next resolution for approval of planning board conflict attorneys for 2024.
This one has a typo in it. It says the year is 2043. So we could just correct that.
It's,
Wait, in the actual resolution?
In the actual resolution.
Yes, in
Okay,
paragraph one of the
fix
resolution.
that. So it actually says,
But with that, I'll make a motion to approve. Once that's corrected.
wait, just 1 second. And we are on recording entity?
No, we're recording about conflict attorney.
No, we're recording entity.
we haven't done recording entity yet.
Oh, you skipped that. You actually, Barbara, you did say conflict attorney.
I'm sorry. Oh, so are we on?
I wasn't
where
listening.
are we?
I wasn't listening. It's recording entity.
Okay, recording entity. Let's start that over
I'm so
again.
jimmied up to bring it up. Recording entity, the one for
And recording
APTV.
entity has a typo in it.
Right.
So we will correct the typo. Correct the typo, got it. Okay, so for that one,
I'll make that motion.
okay. Jim had a motion?
And I'll second.
Okay. James Bonanno.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Eric Gallipo.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jen Souter. Yes. Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Okay, let's do this again. Resolution for approval of planning board conflict attorneys for 2024. Motion to approve.
Move it. Second.
Okay, James Bonanno.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Eric Gallipo.
Yep.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jennifer Souter. Yes. Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Yes.
And Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Next one, resolution for approval for planning board interim board engineers for 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. James Bonanno.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Eric Gallipo.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jennifer Souter. Yes. Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Next one is resolution for approval for planning board conflict engineers for 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
James Bonanno.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Eric Gallipo.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jen Souter. Yes. Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. Last and not least, resolution for approval of planning board conflict planners for 2024. I get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
James Bonanno.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Eric Gallopo.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jen Souter.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. All right. All right, we're good to go. Okay, we're out to our first application, Planning Board 2021, having to do with 614 Cookman Avenue. I thought that, would you like to?
Sure. So I have had conversations with the, is council here? Yeah. You don't want to come up? Sure. So I've had conversations with the council and the applicant on this one, and there is a problem with the notice from what I see. So the statute, it's a statutory thing. Whether we have jurisdiction is subject to the statute. So the statute says that the notices have to be sent to the names and addresses as given by the tax assessor, whoever is in charge of the city. Applicants received the letter from the tax assessor as to who they had to send it to. However, when they submitted their affidavit of title, all the certified mailing receipts, of which there are quite a few, obviously, because it's Asbury Park, none of them had names or addresses on the certified mailing receipts. The applicant says that they sent it to all of the property owners, but I can't verify that when there's no names or addresses on the receipts. And it's a strict compliance thing. So that's the problem here is the statute requires strict compliance of the names, got to be spelled right, address have to be right, zip codes, everything has to be exactly as it is listed in there. The applicant then subsequently tried to get additional information from the post office, and the information that I received from them from the post office still doesn't get us to the point where we can verify that there are names and addresses. In fact, one of the documents, I got an email that was from Brian Durand at AsburyBrewery.com to Abdul Hamid Katrina, Asbury Park, New Jersey, and it is a list of the certified mailing numbers. Now, these certified mailing numbers do appear to be the certified mailing numbers that the applicant had on the list of the certified mailings, but there are a number of things. For example, one says in transit, one says unclaimed, one says vacant, one says transit, one says forwarding expired, transit, and it's just the numbers of what's on the certified mailing. Again, we don't have names and addresses that I can tie it to. So I received another document from them, and it's the product tracking and reporting with a sheet showing what appears to be signatures. Some of these actually have signatures, some of them actually have an address, but the signatures are not that legible. And quite honestly, one of the documents, there are about 3 or 4 that look exactly the same, referencing different properties as I go through here. So with all of that said, it is my opinion that from the jurisdictional standpoint of the statute, we do not have jurisdiction to hear this matter. However, the notice itself was okay. What was in the notice was okay. So the applicant did also provide notice in the paper. If the matter gets carried by the board, we can say there will be no new notice in the paper. However, it's my opinion that the notice to the property owners is not proper and we can't take jurisdiction.
Okay. That sounds pretty clear cut that we don't have jurisdiction here. So what is the alternative at this point? Is to do notice again?
They're going to have to notice.
Okay. And then we have a date, Marie?
Our next meeting, February 26th, 2024.
Okay, so we do have a slot that's available. So on February 26th, we can go again if you send out the notices. Are there enough time? Is there enough time?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
only February 5th.
Is it possible
Okay.
for us to be heard on this?
you can be heard, but
Sure.
it's not gonna change my opinion as the jurisdiction.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Well, the only thing is, as per the letter that's in front of zoning, that was printed by Asbury, it tells you exactly what to do and to go to the post office. We did exactly what is written on that notice from Asbury Park. Unfortunately, and this is just a situational thing, one person needs to enter in all 57 of these things. Here are the tickets right here. We did all of them. When we went back to him on Monday, Jeff said, unfortunately, you can't match the signatures to the certified mail receipts. Katrina is the postmaster of Asbury Park. She gave us all of the people who actually received it. I got all of their signatures with their tracking number on it. So we do have their signatures. We do have the tracking numbers. One of the things that Jeff correctly stated was that some people put a line through their signature. There's nothing we can do about that. Some people just, that's how they sign stuff. Actually, one of the funny things is one of the utilities signs it like that. So we did everything that we could do. Unfortunately, the postmaster said that this is how we were supposed to do it. The receipts are all right here, all 57 stamped the way he wanted it. The receipt for everything we paid is here. So to what we were told to do by the letter that I got from Michelle Alonso at zoning, what we did over there, everything was paid for. There was a receipt for everyone who went out. And as per Jeff, if people get it after the fact, he has no concern. There's nothing we can do if somebody gets it after the fact. And we tracked every person who got it or who didn't get it. And we cannot control if somebody didn't get it, but everything was mailed to their residents who was there. They're signed, the tracking numbers are here. Unfortunately, there's a situation where you want a green slip, but there's nothing on the application from zoning that says anything about a green slip. So I don't know what else we could have done, because again, the postmaster of Asbury Park told us to do it this way.
So you're saying that the receipts don't have the people's names or addresses in the receipts?
These receipts do not.
So those, yeah.
These are all the receipts, and the names are not on them, but the trackings are. So what we did is we took the tracking numbers that are on all these receipts, got the receipts from the post office, and matched them up with the addresses and the signatures. So what should be on here, we have on these sheets of paper instead.
So, but when you send these certified, you fill out who you're sending this to and?
So we went to the post office, he went to the post office to do that, and when he did, there's 57 of them, right? And you're showing up there. So the postmaster, or whoever was filling it out with him, told him he did not have to fill these things out.
It takes the gentleman, and this is a side thing, it takes the guy an hour and 45 minutes to input this. It's not the best, it's a state regulation, because I talked to zoning about it. It's a state regulation, it's not an Asbury regulation, but this is not probably the best way of going about doing it, but that's how the gentleman said do it. He said, give me every single envelope, give me that sticker to the envelope, bring it back up. He fills out everything in one, sends it to us.
But don't fill it out.
He said, he's done it so you can't read it like some people's things, so actually, this is what I gave him, which is like that.
Hold on, if those were filled out, the name and address, would that be sufficient?
That would have been fine, but they came to me not filled out. And then, if they were filled out, my assumption, and I can only do an assumption at that point, I can only assume that the actual envelope met what's on the certified mailing. But when I get a certified mailing that has no name, no address, I can't accept that.
But again, if those were filled out, that would have been sufficient.
That would have been, they would have done their statutory obligation. But the statute says what the statute says.
So to be clear, we need to come back in a month with these these little things filled out. Is that what you're saying?
You're gonna have to renotice.
Sure, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're gonna renotice everything and come back with these things filled out. And these documents that have the same tracking information and the names and the addresses do not suffice. Correct?
Those other documents, look, if you were able to give me very clear every single person on those sheets, like Teresa Healy, very clear, it's easy to see that. But if you look below that, there's no delivery address. I can't verify a name and address.
But you can.
Sure there are.
Yes,
The
you are.
addresses are on the stickers up top.
Those stickers are not what the post office gives you.
Yeah, they're what we put on the envelopes.
Exactly. So it's not sufficiently verifiable according to the statute. So you have to put, what we generally do when I do it, is we do a label. We print 2 sets of labels, one goes on the envelope, one goes on the certified mailing.
Right.
Then you know it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Because both labels are the same.
Okay.
Okay? And then, you don't have to do the green card. I always do the green card, the return receipt as
Okay.
well. Yeah, it's an extra $3 or $4 per mailing, but I do it because then I have a verification with those that come back.
Okay.
Even the ones that might come back after, I still have something in my file records as to what happened.
Okay.
But look, I've been in your shoes. I've done the same thing. I just did it last month. I had to send $600 worth of notices out because I spelled one word wrong on my notice, literally.
Right, but
the street.
what I don't understand is you had communicated with us in email that you needed something that had the name and the tracking information on it, correct?
That's correct.
Then
But
why
it's
does-
gotta have the name, the address, and the tracking information all clear.
Which is what this is.
It's not.
Why is-
Teresa Healy doesn't have a delivery address on it.
I mean,
You have
I
to
guess we're gonna go.
attach the name on the 200-foot list,
Right.
to the name on the envelope.
I get it. But here's the thing,
Neighbors.
you're saying you're not gonna, I can't control if somebody does that.
But you can control that.
Okay,
That's
then,
what you can
I filled
control.
out thousands of those myself,
Yeah.
I know it sucks.
I'm done.
I get it, but then here's the
I
thing.
know it sucks.
Then 2 things. One is,
Thank you.
then if we can update the information that the town gives people and the sign of zoning to have that. I actually talked, the guy at the post office was very apologetic. He didn't know, but the problem is now we're gonna waste another $350, 2 hours of him individually entering every one of these things in here, when in the end, you said that the biggest thing you're worried about is somebody coming in here after the fact, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Because it voids the whole hearing.
Right, but we also have sent notices to all those people and we have proof that at least 50 of them received it, correct? So now we're gonna send notices to all these people again, saying, hi, come back on another day, although they've
So-
received it, and I don't think anybody's here.
What I would say to that is, if someone came tonight because they got a notice, they would hear from the board what we're gonna say, we're gonna give a new date, we're gonna give the time of that date, and you're not gonna have to notice in the newspaper, because the notice was okay.
Okay,
But for purposes of notifying the utilities, property owners, and all that, you do have to renotice for that new date. And what I would recommend, because your assessor's list is from October, you should get an updated assessor's list as well.
fair enough. So just so we're clear, when we come back here in a month or whatever day it is, I just need to bring back this.
No, you have to you submitted an affidavit.
Correct.
You have to do that same process, but those filled out with the same addresses where they sent.
Correct.
Have to be included with that.
So the affidavit and this will suffice, and we'll be good?
So let me just go back to your affidavit. Hold on. So your affidavit it was three pages. It's got affidavit of service, City of Asbury Park. It's got the public notice that you're sending out, so we'll need that, because that's gonna have to have this new date on it, right? And then, this is your press, so you don't have to do the press. So those 2 pages are gonna be there, your notice and that affidavit.
Okay.
And then the other thing that we're gonna need is all of your certified mailings showing all of the addresses on there of where you sent them.
Okay. And that works for that? Great.
Can we, I'm sorry.
I would also recommend that you send out the return receipts. That is a big help when the attorney or the planner or anybody else is looking at it. If you have those return receipts as well, it's a big help to the board and its professionals.
Thank you.
And I understand Jim's comment, it is not statutorily required, I just do want to put that on the record. I do it as a matter of course in my own practice, because then you have a verification.
Fair enough.
All right, so just because I can put a sticker, I can put the same white sticker that's on here on the bottom of this, because the guy said that they don't like people to fill them out because you can't read them.
Right, that's what I do.
Which is brilliant.
Right.
It's a
So
label.
that's
But-
fine, I get it. And the second thing is, can you change the thing next to zoning so that it says that? Because it doesn't say that. It just says, get a certified mail. And then when the postmaster says
But
to
the
do it
thing
this
about it
way,
is,
you
the
listen.
statute dictates what has to happen.
I totally understand that, but if the postman, I've never done this before, if the postman says do it this way, you listen to what the guy says. You know, which,
I mean, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I've been here on your side, and I've been here on this side, saying to clients or applicants that they don't have jurisdiction. Unfortunately. Great. All right, so the next date is when?
February 26th.
Okay. So we do need a motion to carry it to February 26th without notice in the press only, or in the paper only.
Okay, can I get a motion to carry this application to February 2026? One without notice to the press, and the other one with notice for the list of,
So moved. A second.
James Bonanno,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton,
Yes.
Eric Gallopo,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
Daniel Shinameo,
Yes.
Jennifer Sauter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mike Goonan,
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
yes. All right, so that's our next meeting. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next application is a preliminary and final subdivision on Borden Avenue.
Good evening, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Vinay Mavincurve. I represent the applicant, Savvy Investors LLC. I anticipate testimony from the owner, and we have our engineer as well who's going to provide some testimony and answer some questions.
Okay,
So with your permission, I'll have the owner come up.
absolutely.
Okay.
If you could raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And if you can state your name and then spell your name for the record, please.
Minal Jain, and I spell it as Minaljain.
And you are the owner of the property?
I'm one of the partners in LLC and the manager.
Okay. You have authority to testify on behalf of the LLC? Just since it is an LLC, if you could just review who the partners are?
Certainly.
At least 10%?
Certainly.
ownership?
Ms. Jane, can you tell us the percentages in the ownership
Yeah,
of the
we're
partnership,
just two
please?
partners. One, I'm 50%, and then I have another friend, Ashok Bansali, he's another 50%.
And you're the managing member of the
I'm the
LLC,
managing
correct?
member, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, Ms. Jane, what can you tell me about the three adjacent lots that we're here for today? What street are they on?
Borden Avenue. So there are 3 lots of 3 sizes. We just want to combine them into 2.
Okay, and yeah, we can step it a little bit. There you go. Sure. All 3 lots front on Borden Avenue and are located between Madison Avenue and Springwood Avenue, correct?
Right,
Okay, and all 3 lots are located in the R1 zone, am I right?
right,
Okay, and that's the single-family residential zone, correct?
right,
And all 3 lots are undeveloped, am I correct?
correct.
Okay. There are 2 large trees and some shrubbery, but aside from that, there's really nothing else on those lots, am I right?
There's the driveway.
Okay, you're right. There is a driveway, a finished driveway on that lot as well, correct? Okay. Now, your application is looking to adjust the lot lines to create 2 lots where there are 3, am I right?
Correct,
Okay. And in seeking to create the 2 lots, you're creating 2 50 by 150 lots, correct?
I think so.
Okay, they're about 7,500 square foot in area, correct?
Yes,
And both lots that you're proposing to create, they're going to conform to the minimum lot depth area with requirements of the R1 zone, right?
right,
Okay, and as they exist today, only one of those 3 lots is in conformance, am I right?
correct.
Okay, there's 2 undersized lots, those are lots 11 and lot 13, am I right?
Right,
And those are roughly 3,750 square feet, correct?
right.
Okay. You're not proposing to develop the lots at this time, am I right?
There's no plan as of now.
Okay. You mentioned the existing driveway. Now, that driveway is being utilized by the adjacent lot number 14, am I right?
Right,
Okay. And there's no existing easements that permit the use of that driveway, correct?
right.
Is it possible that that driveway as it exists would need to be demolished in the future?
I don't know, I mean, the plans are not in place.
Fair enough. You've received and reviewed some comments and recommendations from the engineer in a letter dated November 27, 2023. Am I right?
Right,
And to the extent that you end up developing the lot, you're prepared to abide by those comments and recommendations, correct?
of course.
The surrounding properties are all residential, am I right?
Right.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for the owner. I do have the engineer on hand. He may be able to answer some more technical questions, but that's all I have for the owner. So if the board, if the council has any other questions, please feel
Can
free.
you just specify just one more time about the driveway? Because I do have it's hard for us to tell. So the driveway that exists sits on lot 13,
Right,
right? And right now, somebody else like puts their car there, they use it, and that's on your property.
Right.
That's your business right now, so let's
Correct.
just put that to the side. Okay, so, okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions to the owner? Anyone on the board? Questions? Professional questions? Okay, let's open up any questions. Yes,
I do have
sir.
another question are you looking to grant an easement to that neighbor at lot 14?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, there isn't one on record. There's nothing on title. There's no right of way or anything that I could find. He's trespassing as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Are they aware that you're going to be doing this?
Well, they were
Has there
noticed
been
about
any
this meeting.
communication with-
They were noticed for this meeting. I know Ms. Jane has spoken to him
I've met
before.
him, like informally I'd met him once. And
Right, I believe they're renting, so I'm not sure if they're the owners or the tenants, to be fair. But they are aware of this application. And I do have the green card with the number on it.
Which is important.
I do have I handwrite them. I don't mess with the stickers because they fall off sometimes. All right, so at this time we'll have
All right,
Mr. Rosati.
Just one
Yeah,
second, I
sorry.
just have to do a formality. Can I
Yes.
open up any questions from the public? No questions from the public, okay. Up you go.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
All
Ms.
righty,
Jane.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I do have Mr. Rosati, who's the PE on this project.
Yeah. that's for you. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And if you can state your name for the record and again spell it, please?
Christopher P. Rosati, R-O-S-A-T-I, with FWH Associates, Toms River, New Jersey.
And while we're doing that, we're also going to swear in our professionals. If you can both raise your hands, you swear or affirm that any testimony you will provide tonight will be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Can I just ask a question? The documents that we have are created by Joseph Barbieri and Associates?
Yes.
Who are they?
They're the surveyors of record for the
Oh, so they're
subdivision.
surveyors only?
Yes.
So you had nothing to do with these documents?
Correct.
Okay,
I'm here to answer some engineering questions that were raised in the review letter.
okay, great.
And it is typical that you would have a surveyor prepare the survey, that engineers will provide like plot plans or anything like that.
Okay, I just see that we have nothing else besides that. Okay.
Okay, Mr.
We just need to have your credentials?
Sure.
Please?
I'm a licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey. I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Rutgers University in civil engineering, graduated in 1994. I have been involved in land development projects since July of 1994 when I started with Flannery Webb and Hanson. That was the name of the firm at the time. It's now FWH Associates. I'm a principal in the firm at this point. I have not testified before this board, but I've testified before numerous boards in the area. I actually grew up in Oakhurst, so I'm somewhat local growing up, and I actually went to nursery school at the YMCA on Main Street back in 1975, believe it or not. My primary focus has been through my whole career has been land development, from the small one-lot plot plan onto multiple unit major subdivisions and site plans. 2 years of my career, I served as a township engineer in the township of Millstone in Monmouth County, and the assistant engineer of that town as well.
And your certifications are all, licenses are all current?
Yes, all current.
Okay.
We respectfully tender Mr. Rosati is a
Yes.
qualified expert to testify in the field of engineering. Okay, now you've received and reviewed the comments and recommendations from the city engineer.
Yes.
It's a letter dated November 27, 2023, correct?
Yes,
And you did respond, or a member of your firm responded to that letter, am I right?
to your office, yes.
Okay. So I'll ask a few questions in reference to that.
Sure.
One of the questions was whether new connections will be required in the event of future development.
Yeah, in the future, more than likely, there will be new connections. From an inspection of the property, there's what I found 3 sanitary sewer connections, and I only saw 1 water meter. However, I don't know how old they are, so there's a potential that they're all going to have to be replaced based on what material they're made out of or what type of condition they're in. So I would anticipate, just to be safe, that there will be 3 new connections for sanitary sewer and 3 new connections for water. Obviously, you'll need the other utilities as well.
2?
I'm sorry, 2. I apologize, I'm sorry, 2. 1 per each conforming lot on the 2-lot minor subdivision, I apologize. So there will be, again, 2 utility hits for cable, electric, what have you. So there will be work that will be required once development takes place.
One of the other questions was whether any utility trenching will be required within the city's right-of-way. Could you please talk about that?
Yeah, at minimum, if we could use the existing hits, we would have to trench in the right-of-way up to those points. However, if we have to replace them to the point of the main, there would be trenching that would be required in the pavement as well.
Okay, and lastly, the question was asked as to whether the utilities are available along the property's frontage. You've sort of answered that already, but if you could please
Yeah, based on my visual inspection and other available data, there are utilities available along the frontage of the site. Just for point of record too, I don't know if we need to label the exhibit. It is the submitted plan, but I just colored it up to make it, you can tell each lot.
If it's colored, we'll mark it as A1.
Okay.
You want to just identify it?
Yes. Can I speak from here? Is it loud enough? So A1 is a copy of the submitted minor subdivision plan prepared for Savvy Investors LLC by Joseph F. Barbieri and Associates, dated 7/15/23 with no revisions. So all I did on this exhibit was I highlighted on the key map where we are along Gordon Avenue, and then I outlined track 1 in blue, track 2 in red, showing that both are 7,500 square feet, and we have a compliant minor subdivision.
Those are all the questions I have at this time.
Okay, then, we look at the Insight Engineering letter, can I assume that and can you testify to what's happening with under the development review, 12 through 16? Are you in agreement that you will do those things?
Yes, the applicant is prepared to comply with all the recommendations in the letter as it relates to development.
Is this going to be filed by deed or map?
By deed.
So you'll consolidate and then subdivision?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I'm happy to send you drafts of
Yeah.
what we have put together.
Yeah, well, obviously, between the engineer and myself. Will you, did you get approval from the tax assessor for the new lot numbers?
No, we did not.
You don't
That's
have a
something that
problem?
we'll need to add. I know that was one of the comments in the letter, but we didn't have the exact number, so we left that out of the map.
Right, so that's number 18, that has to
That's correct.
happen. I don't know if we have to deal with having to do with the aprons that are there already, and what's going to happen to them in the future, or do we wait until there's a development that happens here?
So I was going to raise that issue. It's something for the board to consider. I understand no developments proposed at this time. But I think there's, I'm going off of memory here, I don't know if there's 3 current curb cuts now. So, I mean, our recommendation was to replace the sidewalks and curbs across the frontage so that when new development comes in, you're starting from a clean slate. But, you know, it's really up to the board in terms of how you guys want to handle that.
You're saying now that you get rid of the curb cuts now
Yeah.
until they redevelop, so people don't have to be walking all over the grass.
Correct.
Isn't that kind of foolish when you take away the curb cuts, replace the sidewalk, and you come in with a development plan, and now you've got to put in new curb cuts, new sidewalk to accommodate the development? Wouldn't it be better to let the development items be taken care of when he comes in with a development plan?
You don't have to do the sidewalks, you just really have to do the aprons and the curb.
Yeah, so the thought is, I guess, is how would it be enforced? You know, if, I suppose it could be a condition in the resolution and it could be enforced later. You know, when they come in with development, it'll be by right. I would assume you're not going to be going for variances, I don't think, but, so it would be by right, so they'd get a zoning permit, they would need a grading plan. I don't know that the curb cuts would be enforced at that level, so that's why I was bringing it up now, so that if there's something we can do to get ahead of it.
If you're going to put a driveway in, you're going to have to put in a curb cut and a depressed sidewalk.
Right, but what happens, Jim, once with the existing curb cuts, because now we don't want four curb cuts that are just sitting there. I see where Doug's going.
You also don't know when it will be developed.
Right, if it will be or when. I mean, I also get that what you're saying, Jim, is that why are we doing anything ahead of time?
Well, you only have to really take out the apron and the curb cut.
Well, we have,
Stand the grass area.
there are 4 there right now. So how does that get in? How do we deal with those 4 curb cuts when there's a development? If there are no variances, then you're not in front of us, and it's just we can't have 4 curb cuts on a property that's only 2, that only has potential of 2 driveways.
Right, but they're gonna be required to eliminate, so that would be part of the development plan. That Mary Ann, when she gets the permit application, would review for.
She would say that.
Just like any other site development application.
So it would come up at that point, and it can be
Yeah, but we'd have
enforced
to
at that
live-
point.
We'd have to live with all these curb cuts the
Yeah,
way
well,
we are right now.
That's
And just like the street
It
trees.
is what it
why not
is.
Put street trees
So-
in now.
There's also
Yeah.
a utility pole
yeah.
in front of that, so, I mean,
Yeah.
I know we're not at the development, but assuming, is it, looking forward, where there's likely to be driveways in 2 lots, is that going to interfere with utility poles?
Well, whoever would do that design would just have to design around it, so you make sure you're not too close to the utility pole. And,
Yeah,
and,
we're gonna have
and if we're
to-
using other utility hits, usually you don't want them in the driveways either. So you're gonna have to, play around with what we have as far as handcuffs of where the driveways should go from a design standpoint, and then offer that up on a plot plan.
Yeah, is the utility poles not shown on the exhibit?
I thought it was, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pointing to A1, it's roughly in the center of proposed track 1.
Oh, yeah, it says utility pole.
Yeah, so that lends it to already that, the driveway's probably gonna be,
Oh, it's here.
I don't know,
It's right
10
here.
feet or so
Yeah,
off
but it's
one of
not
the
on the
property
property.
lines.
Oh, no, it's
in the
So if it's in the
Right.
center, we'll be well enough away from it just from design requirements.
So you're saying that we could make approval contingent upon having these curb cuts taken away?
So what you can do is, well, you have a few different options. One is you can say all 4 curb cuts can be eliminated as indicated in Doug's letter. The other option is you could just simply say that no new development on either lot shall have more than 1 curb cut. And then they'll decide when they do the development where that curb cut's going to be, and it shall be compliant with the the requirements of the city unless further relief is requested.
So are we worried about, I mean, what's the temperature? Are we worried about there being 4 curb cuts in the that are left for the future development, or 4 curb cuts for people to utilize, you know, the land for parking and into?
I would be more concerned of the latter myself, that you'd have, I mean, obviously you have one.
It's happening
you have
already.
one car doing it right now,
Right, that's what I'm
so.
saying. So the thing is, your latter suggestion of like saying, you know, it can't be no more than 4 when we get to the development.
No more than
that's not
2.
gonna work. That's not gonna prevent the problem. We gotta make it contingent upon them taking away the curb cuts now.
No, no.
That have probably been there for 50 years.
Yeah.
And nobody's codes never complained.
Mhm.
Nobody's ever complained.
Yeah, we're just saying that we would, in the future, 1 per lot.
No question about it.
Yep.
No question about
Yes.
that.
They are vacant lots too, so people, if they're inside, people don't feel like they're parking in front of someone's house. because they're
Right,
vacant.
and if there weren't curb cuts and somebody wanted to park on the grass, they're gonna jump the 2-inch curb.
So, we'd be okay with that.
Yeah, Jeff, the way you worded it, your option 2 seemed
Yeah,
perfect from my perspective.
each lot shall have no more than 1 curb cut.
That's right.
One other item from our letter, stormwater management. So looking at the 2 lots, in all likelihood, assuming when they are built out, they would trigger the requirements of a minor development for stormwater management purposes. That being said, they would be required to include some form of stormwater mitigation. This is also something that, I mean, we have it in our letter that compliance with the stormwater control ordinance should be a condition of any approval. So it could be, as you know, there's no development proposed right now. In the future, the homes that are constructed would need to take that into consideration to comply with the stormwater ordinance. So they would have to put in, say, a dry well or some other form of stormwater mitigation at the time.
But let's say that this development doesn't require any variances. Isn't that normal?
Yes.
That's just a normal thing that happens, right, Doug? This is normal, that when there's a development, they have to deal with the stormwater management without, they're not coming here, so that's just a requirement for when they build. Or how is this different? Let me just ask that. How is it different? How is this different?
Whether you look at a single lot individually or the 2 lots together.
Right.
And in my opinion, they should be looked at together. The trigger is 1,000 square feet, either way. So in all likelihood, even on 1 lot, you're more than likely adding 1,000 square feet of impervious coverage. But you might not. So my point is, when you assume the full build out of both lots, I mean, they're here before us tonight for both lots, or 3 existing lots.
Right.
So they should be looked at together.
Right, but respectfully, I mean, we're here for a planning application. There's no development proposed. To the extent that there is a development proposed in the future, we will certainly abide by all ordinances, as the councilwoman's suggesting. I'm not sure why that's implicated today.
What Doug is implying is that because you're asking for a subdivision
Right.
across this tract. And so the entire tract should be looked at when considering application of the stormwater regs. I don't know that I agree, but
I think
we've had one like this before.
I think we're safe either way.
Actually, Donna, since each of these lots are vacant.
Yeah.
And there's the threshold is 1,000 square foot, so any building that's going to be is going to affect each lot.
Well, you could
The lots are.
have a 20 by 40 house
7,500
on
apiece.
one lot, that's
Yeah.
only 800 square
When
feet.
you put in the driveway,
You still might be under.
The other trigger is 5,000 square feet of disturbance.
Yeah.
They're 7,500 square foot lots, so.
So you've already creating it.
From a practical standpoint, this is what's going to have to happen anyway. We're going to need minor development, even if we look at them individually or together. The other trigger would be under the city's ordinance, correct, which we would have to do for a plot plan. The other trigger would be major development, which would be over a quarter acre of impervious to enact the real, quote-unquote, real stormwater regulations. But your engineer's right, no matter what, we're gonna have to go to the Freehold Soil Conservation District for an individual plot plan, because we're definitely gonna be disturbing the entire lot, 'cause we're gonna be grading it, putting lawn in, fences, what have you. So I think on an individual plot plan basis, we're gonna have to address your ordinance with a dry well for the roof runoff or whatever. And it's, honestly, we do this in almost every town now under these new regulations. Asbury Park's not unique in that respect anymore. So I think we're safe either way. We're definitely gonna have over 1,000 square feet each lot, being their 7,500 square feet. You're gonna have a driveway, you're gonna have a sidewalk to the front, someone's gonna put a deck on the back or a patio or something like that. It adds up fairly quickly. And it's something that we do day in and day out, where we do the mitigation measures to make sure that that stormwater doesn't affect the neighbors or the surrounding area.
So there's no objection to having it in the resolution?
None at all.
Okay, so we should add that to the resolution also. Okay,
But I'm confused, whatever.
go ahead.
We're speculating.
That's right.
The applicant right now could be here saying, I want to subdivide to make 2 buildable lots, and I'm going to flip them tomorrow, but so why let them incur costs until the new people?
Oh, they don't have to incur the cost now, it's at the time of development.
Okay, so, but that, like, I think what somebody said, that happens no matter what applicant comes, whenever. I mean, that's going to be, it's not like somebody could get away without doing that.
Well, so as Donna was saying, if you come in with let's say you come in with a home that doesn't meet the 1,000 square feet, you put a small driveway in, and in all, on one lot, you don't meet the 1,000-foot threshold, they wouldn't have to comply if you look at it lot by lot.
Right, but
So suppose they decide to sell these lots to 2 separate families tomorrow.
Exactly.
Now we're gonna tell those 2 separate families, you can only build your house if you get with the other person and your whole, you have to coordinate together?
No, stormwater management is on that lot. You have
Right.
to deal with the stormwater management on that lot and that development.
right, but let's think about it. What we're talking about here now. Let's say that it's built. It's not 1,000. Let's say it's 850. So the rest of it is vacant. Then your stormwater is going right into the ground. So you don't have to build this extra, all the stormwater management around that. You just have to do it for the 850. You don't have to do the extra steps.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is all speculative at this point.
Right, no, it's absolutely
Entirely
right,
speculative.
but
We don't know.
stormwater management is very close to our heart.
Of course.
So that's why we're concerned.
And if we can make a general part of the resolution that says that the applicant will comply to the extent that they need to develop the lot in the future, I'm sure my clients will abide by that. But I feel like we're putting the cart before the horse. We're here just to redraw the lot lines. The lots already exist. 2 of them are undersized. We're making it compliant with the ordinance. I'm not quite sure we need to get into the minutiae of stormwater at this point.
No,
I'm not suggesting it's...
Though you may be right, this is also a learning opportunity for the board.
Certainly.
To when we get into these kinds of questions, that we have to understand also, why would
That's
Doug
fair.
put this in the letter if we don't have to worry about it? So there's a reason why they do that. There's a reason why our professionals
No, I
ask
appreciate
these
that.
questions. And then we learn from that. So I understand. I understand that it's putting the cart before the horse. Is there any more testimony?
No, that's it.
Any other questions by our current, by our planning board? Any question? Go ahead. Go ahead.
A few years back, this is for your benefit, a few years back, there was extensive amount of work done on the storm sewer system and stormwater containage in the Springway Avenue area. I don't know if it extended as far as Oregon, excuse me, but it might be to your benefit
To look into that.
meet with the Department of Public Works and find out what it is, because that stormwater management may well have been taken care of in that redevelopment of the utilities. I'd say that was probably 10 years ago.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do the professionals have anything else that they would like to ask our engineer? No? Will somebody else be speaking to the planning document? Or is our engineer going to be speaking to that as well?
I could, as a licensed planner, I would just say that we're a fully conforming minor subdivision. And we meet all the requirements listed in the zone.
Can we also ask, Donna, when we're talking about, I noticed that on your mention, there are street trees being mentioned. Don, on your report, there is a mention of street trees. Wouldn't this normally be done during?
Same as the stormwater.
So it's the same as stormwater, so our officers in the city would take care of that?
The only thing we're suggesting is that because it's a very narrow right-of-way and there's not a lot of room between the curb and the sidewalk, the trees should be in the yard. Which
As
means
opposed
they'd be
to on the
outside
street.
right-of-way. So we might need an easement, like a, shade tree maintenance easement, if that's where they are. That way if they have to be removed or maintained, the city can go on the private property and take care of them.
But that could be done when they come
Well,
for
the easement would have
development.
to be done as part of the subdivision. And then, again, as part of a condition of the approval, when they go to build the house, Mary Ann's gonna make sure they're planning on putting a street tree on the, she's gonna check the resolution. Yes, they need a street tree, oh, it's gonna be in the front yard, not by the curb. And that's when she checks their plot plan, before they issue a permit.
Yeah, can we require that? Is that like something we can really do?
If they conform and are essentially allowed to do this, I agree, it would be better in the front yard.
We would prefer it in the front yard, but
But
can we even ask for that?
it seems dicey.
We do it all the time in other places.
Do you?
But can't they
Because
just
we want the
say
tree
it's
to-
a
we
narrow
want the
right
tree
of
to
way, we'll put
survive.
it there anyway?
Well, the applicants can say that, but if they sell the property to someone else, does all that flow through?
Well, that would be part of their due diligence and to.
Right,
what
to
they're
take
obligated
whatever they're
to.
obligated to.
I think that the street tree the environmental commission ordinances give the environmental commission jurisdiction over those street trees as well as trees that were contemplated here. And I think if you look at and I don't ask you what the statute, but I'm sorry, the ordinance number is, but that falls under the jurisdiction of the environmental commission, and it is covered by city ordinance.
When they're in the right of way.
Right.
And when they are on private property affecting the right of way. That issue just came up recently, and so you can check that. I don't know whether I checked those citations or not, Donna.
Yeah, I've been in there before, but I'll talk with them.
Because I recall, it gives the environmental commission jurisdiction.
Teresa came before the board.
You've got a better memory than me.
You can't just go on private property.
Remove the trees,
you have to have
they
some kind
didn't
of-
want the trees, so they felt that.
The way the statute.
I think that was by the church. Isn't that by the church, when they put the new trees? And they complained about parking.
Well,
Because the environmental commission takes down the block and then they made them.
Yeah.
the thing is that we
Again,
could
just
put it in.
recommendation, we know we do
And
that
under
in
that.
other jurisdictions where we have issues where the city might have to go on private property to, take care of public.
A street or on a. So when they actually, when development comes in front of,
Variance.
not us, not us, because there are probably no variances.
The zoning office.
So wouldn't they say, hey, we need a street tree here? Okay,
The zoning officer is gonna say, you need a street tree here.
right, the zoning officer will say, you need a street tree here.
So at that time, they
Okay.
can say we want it in
Resolution's
front
gonna be
yard.
in the property file, right?
Right,
And it's gonna say, yeah, you need a street tree on this one, at development.
at development
And
on,
it's gonna say, whatever, is, we decide about the stormwater regs
right,
and the limitation about the driveways. You're allowed to have one curb. That's gonna be.
Oh, no, I think our question is, if we say nothing about street trees, when they go to develop either one of these tracks, will someone from the city say, you're required to have a street tree?
No, not necessarily. Because they're gonna, again, look at that property file and go, oh, this lot was created by a resolution by deed.
Right.
And the board didn't say anything about whether to make a contribution or to put in a tree.
But
So
then,
they may say you're not required.
right, but then can you tell me why you, not to question too much, but the thing is that why would you say that, oh, a street tree is required? Because there's gotta be some place where it says a street tree is
Oh, yeah.
required.
3056 3B.
Okay, so it's required, so shouldn't the
As
zoning
part of
officer?
new development.
Right, and it will be a new development at that time.
And
All right, so it should be
so-
there.
Just saying.
The street tree, yes, but can we tell them now whether it has to be on or off? That's what this.
It sounds premature.
Right,
It sounds
because there will be a street
I
tree.
agree.
One
I
hopes
agree.
that when they develop
Doesn't
these
catch up.
lots, someone will say, could you put that in your front?
figured out that.
But when they
Okay.
do that, if they
It's only
don't
one
give the city an
Okay.
easement, if the tree tips
Oh,
doesn't
right.
survive, the city can't go and fix it. It's supposed to be a
You're
city
talking
benefit,
about-
right? It's a
Well,
city asset.
you're saying that we should grant a
The property owner grants
preemptive
an easement to the
right.
city that says, if anything goes wrong with this tree, you're allowed to come take care
So
of it.
that seems like the
Yes.
issue to me, is that we're asking them to say, you know what, create an easement so that it doesn't preclude the tree from being on your property in the future,
It could be that too.
right? So.
That sounds a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, because then they can decide,
Yes.
no, we wanna put it here, or no, we don't. And if they
Right.
do, you have the easement, if you don't.
That sounds within reason.
And where's my driveway gonna go, and where is this,
Where's the tree gonna
and where is this utility pole gonna go? And are they too close to each
I don't know,
other?
it sounds like
Hold
the
on,
zoning
hold on.
officer should.
The language that goes along the easement, I wouldn't accept it.
Say that again, Dan?
In other words, first of all, easements are, you can have a map, but easements are all by the text, right? What you can
Not
do
necessarily.
And what you can't do with the easement. And if you put something in the resolution, first of all, saying that it's a street tree and you get the easement to the city, I don't know if I would accept it, because you don't know how expansive the easement's going to be.
That's exactly what you defined. We're
Well,
gonna
you
say.
guys want to define now before you,
Yeah,
before I accept
exactly.
it.
So, and maybe I apologize. In other places, when we talk about this stuff, there are a lot of, oh yeah, we know, we understand, there's an expectation. In a lot of other towns, they do a 10-foot wide or 15-foot wide.
Across the entire front.
Across the entire frontage of the property, so that, it's this very defined space. And certain things can happen within that space, and certain things are not allowed to happen in that space. And then you assign those rights to do those things to the various beneficiaries, whether it's the city or the property owner. And again, this is so that, in other places, they do this with road improvements, not just the street tree. Like, they'll build pavement on somebody else's property because they gave a street easement instead of doing a dedication of right-of-way.
And so what you're saying is this
Which
easement
to me
would
sounds
be-
absolutely horrendously scary, but yeah, we do that in Deptford.
And so what you're saying is this would be a 10, let's just call it 10-foot
Could be
deep
5 foot, because it might
easement,
just be
right?
what we need.
That allows the city to go onto the site and maintain a potential future street tree, period. That's it.
Don't put the word maintain in, because they don't maintain the trees in my house.
Sure, so,
No,
but to,
you're right, they don't.
so, but it's for that specific thing, it's the street tree. That may or may not be there in the future.
I think that we're getting into a
Into the weeds.
we're getting a little too far into this.
We got a simple subdivide.
Right, we have a simple subdivide.
Argument two conforming.
We're thinking about every boogeyman in America.
Right, and let's be frank, that we have 4 curb cuts, we have a telephone pole, and at some point, there'll be some trees. Depends on where we can fit them.
But will there be, the whole point, I know it's in the weeds, but will there be trees if we don't say anything?
Yes, there will. They are required.
They're required.
But look
Yeah,
at
but they're
Donna's
only
face.
required in the right-of-way, of which there is
Not much space.
not much room.
So they'll probably say no.
So they're gonna be kind of on the private property anyway when they dig that hole. Which is why we're recommending you create this instrument so that everybody knows where they're working.
I don't think we can create the issue. The city would be the issue.
They get the easement
They
to
get
the city.
the easement. I mean, somebody's got to draw the easement. Listen, to me, here is an applicant taking two non-conforming lots and taking three lots, two of which are non-conforming, and creating two conforming lots.
Yes.
You know, it's something we should just,
But it could.
further burdening them with stuff that, unless it's delineated down, I mean,
It would
what
just-
this easement is gonna be. I mean,
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing, Dan. They have 2.5 feet, less than 2.5 feet between the property line and the sidewalk. It's not enough room for a street tree.
So it's basic, I mean, it's being proactive to ensure that there's street trees in the neighborhood. That's all it's doing.
That's what it's doing.
That's what you would be doing by drawing a line. It's not complicated.
It's one line. It's defined by text.
And otherwise, there's no
Correct.
reason that there might, I mean, it's an issue that, anyway. It's a proactive step to ensure there's street trees.
So, Donna, what are you proposing the width of this easement would be?
I mean, we could probably get by with a 5-foot easement.
On each lot.
That gives you 7.5
We'll give you
feet.
7.5 feet to do enough room for digging the revolving at the end on the street side. And it is just one street tree per lot.
Right, and what's the setback requirement?
25.
25.
So, we're not dealing with the setback issue. It's not like we're forcing them to put the street tree in the setback where they can build.
Right, it doesn't keep them from installing any house improvements or.
Do you want to talk about the power?
All right. Okay. So here we are. So we're looking at, to Jen's point, is that we're trying to ensure that there are street trees, that doesn't get overlooked.
No.
Doesn't have to be built now,
No, it was just.
it's just whenever some development happens.
5-foot dedication.
5-foot dedication.
Not even a dedication. Dedication means you actually give it up.
Easement.
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 The applicant is going to accept a 5-foot easement.
Somewhere
for
on the,
shade tree
somewhere on the
or
lawn,
street
on the
tree.
property line,
Exactly along the front of the property, from the
Right.
right of way back 5 feet. That's exactly where it
right,
is.
on each
That's
lot,
some-
one on each lot.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board to our,
Just a stupid question. Do we know what the right-of-way is now, how far it goes into their property?
It doesn't go into the property.
What?
It doesn't go into the property. The
Are
right of
you
way.
sure? Are you 100%
Yeah,
sure?
they gave us
Yeah.
a survey that shows.
Okay, I'm not looking at it, okay.
Yeah,
So
that's why I said we only have 2.5 feet.
So the right-of-way ends at the east side of the sidewalk?
He's asking how far past the sidewalk the right of way goes.
2.5 feet.
2.5 feet. So they already got 2.5 feet of their 5 feet.
Correct. No.
No, we're adding an additional
It's a
5.
Total 7.5 feet.
Between
2.5
the
feet
sidewalk.
that the city owns right away,
Yeah.
and then 5 foot within their property.
2.5 feet is between the curb and the sidewalk.
Between the sidewalk and their
Between-
property
Sidewalk
line.
and their
Sidewalk and
property.
So now, the city right-of-way is 7.5 feet.
No, so what they're saying is, it's the curb, it's 2.5 feet grass, then the sidewalk, then 2.5 feet of right of way, and then their lawn. That's where their property line starts, right at their lawn. So their lawn has an extra 2.5 feet of right of way before the sidewalk. Making sense?
You see here, so their property line is here, then there's another 2.5 feet of
Yes.
grass
Yes.
here,
Right.
then the
Like
sidewalk,
everybody.
then another 2.5 feet of grass, and
On
then
the
the road.
avenues, there's like 10 feet.
My steps are.
So giving them 5 feet of the easement means they actually have 7.5 feet, because they can use the 5 feet plus the 2.5 feet of right of way for the tree.
So it doesn't look the sidewalk.
right, so it does lift the sidewalk so that there's a guarantee that trees end up there that will live. One on each lot. Okay. Any other questions for the applicant, from the board members? From the professionals, any other questions from the professionals? No? Any questions from the public? No? Do you have any other witnesses?
No, I do not.
Does this conclude your testimony?
Yes, it does, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I get a motion to open up public comment.
So moved. Second.
Motion to close.
Approved? Second. Okay, there we go. Any other comments from the board? Any comments that they'd like to make? No. Okay, so can I take a shot at this and see where we end up?
Go for it.
Okay. There's been a suggestion of three things. That we have no more than one curb cut. On the lot, one curb cut for each property. When development actually does happen. That regarding the stormwater, if we adhere to the 1,000 foot, it turns into a minor development anyway. So I'm not sure if we really have to put anything in there for that. Because it sounds as though it will be dealt with. Because if it's under 1,000,
So the point of that is if it's under 1,000 on both lots,
yes,
they don't have to deal with it.
right.
If it's over 1,000, which Doug is looking at this as
As
one
two-
complete
but-
lot today, and if it's over 1,000.
But these, while I understand, I think, and the board can chime in here, we don't know what's gonna happen to these lots. If they're going to stay together, if they're gonna be separated, who knows what's gonna happen with these lots?
Yeah, and you're tying one lot to the other, two separate owners.
No, each lot would have to have its own stormwater compliance.
It's just,
Yeah, it's not tied to the other
They
lots.
sell one lot and I wanna go ahead, I buy one lot and I wanna go ahead and develop.
So,
Right, but the other lot's not developed, so I come in front of the board and I'm under 1,000 feet. What do I gotta do?
You don't have to come before the board. Subdivision's already approved, they don't have to come back to the board.
No, but the zoning officer will enforce it.
Right, the zoning officer has to enforce whatever the rules are based on how much the development is.
just so everybody is on the same page.
Go ahead.
The requirement that they need to comply with is triggered by either 1,000 square feet of new impervious or 5,000 square feet of disturbance.
Disturbing the ground.
Yes.
Well, so what are you worried about?
So the lots that they are creating are each 7,500 square feet.
So they will have to.
In all likelihood,
They're gonna disturb them, they're gonna have to comply with stormwater management.
unless, they can, yes, there's the chance they could submit a plan that shows the limit of disturbance being less than 5,000, and I'm saying it's possible, that's why I'm saying it should be.
What is disturbance? If you lay down new sod, is it disturbance? You take up the thing?
If you scrape before you put down the new
You
sod,
have to-
that would be disturbance.
Unearth.
So most likely it's gonna be disturbance.
Yeah.
Regardless, I don't understand why these people are making two conforming lots out of unconforming lots. Why would we hold them to a higher standard than any other lot in Asbury Park?
Right, why are we tying them together?
I don't think that we can tie them together.
All right, so I think the consensus from the board is that each new lot would be standalone, developed. When they are developed, they just have to comply with whatever the ordinance is.
For any other lot anywhere else in this
If they manage to
town.
squeak in under 1,000 square feet of impervious and 5,000 square feet of disturbance, then yay for them. They can just have their roof leaders dump on the ground. And if not, then they need to comply with minor development requirements.
It's no different than any other lot
Okay.
in Asbury Park. Unless the board feels differently, that it's not any different than any other lot in Asbury Park.
So we're
I don't, though I want you to continue to put this in the reports.
Putting it out there.
I think it's a good thing for us to know. But, locking these two lots, that's what's different about this. And how does the other thing was, how does everybody feel about the easement with the potential of a tree on each lot? Because that is something that's requested, that guarantees that there's a tree somewhere on this lot, whether it be,
I'm not thrilled with it, but the applicant agreed to it,
Yeah.
and Jen made a good point, like.
I think she did make a good point.
Guarantees the tree, so, and the applicant agreed with it, so yeah, put it in.
Okay. And that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything else? Do you have anything else, Jeff?
Yeah, so it'll be recorded by deed as the applicant indicated. They will put in monumentation, however. They agreed to that.
What does that mean? To put in
So,
monumentation?
Rather than just a pin, they actually have to put a monument on the corner.
Oh, okay,
Corner
okay.
to determine where the start of the property.
Okay, great.
And then somebody goes around and steals them. I've got two in my backyard.
Oh, they'll get the, they'll get confirmation from the tax assessor for the lot numbers.
Yes.
And if necessary, they'll be responsible for any connection fees.
Right, and they've agreed to anything that's in the engineering report and in the plan.
Yep.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion for approval based on all the items that we just spoke about with Jeff?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
James Bonanno?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton?
Yes.
Eric Gallipo?
Yes.
Jim Henry?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Daniel Shinameo?
Yes.
Jennifer Souter?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gunnan?
Yes.
Chairwoman Kurzak?
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for your patience.
Good luck, can I buy one?
Good luck.
Can I buy one?
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
None opposed?
Nope.
Good night.
Good night, thank you.